What's up, guys? My name is Apollo. I'm the designer of board games, but we're going to talk about a PC game. And this one's actually kind of near and dear. This is near and dear to my heart. This is the reason for just about everything that I am now. It's a game called Pirates of the Burning Sea. I played it in 2007, 8-ish, around then. Beta tester, played the heck out of it. There's a lot that goes into it. Anyways, what's happening with this game is it's going under, and I feel bad because it's done so much for me. I spent so many hours on this game, and it looks like it's going under officially. So we're going to dive into that. At the very end, I'm going to give my proposal, what I can contribute to the game, and see if we can maybe work something out. I don't know. I'm interested to see what everyone has to say. There's a lot of forum activity. Where's it at? Right there. There's a lot of forum activity talking about it. Anyways, let's get into it. So first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a game designer. I've been making board games for the past few years now. I have two successfully Kickstarted games with over $100,000 raised on Kickstarter, and no joke, they're pirate games. They are, honestly, they're based off this game, a very loose arena style, mission kind of game where you're a pirate, you sail around, and you send your friends to the crushing depths. That's how much of this game has influenced me. In fact, this entire room is a pirate room. Right there you can see my pirate game. Let me show you a box. Whoosh, whoosh. British versus Pirates. This is the game that I made that was based off Pirates of the Burning Sea. Let's do this. But yeah, you got islands, you sail around, you do a whole bunch of pirating stuff. I did British versus Pirates Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's a lot of pirating fun, thanks to this game. So here is the general broad stroke of things. Flying Lab Software, who made this game, has licensed the game out to a company called Portalus Games, and they did a pretty good job at running the game on a super low budget. They actually did updates and added new ships to the game and a lot of really fun stuff. Looks like the main guy at Portalus has punched his ticket and he is clocking out. He said no more, he's not doing it anymore. Bless his heart for doing it for as long as he did, so we thank him. But now the game's company's pretty much ran by like one guy, it sounds like. I've been reading the forums and it doesn't look good. So what next? So the situation, to the best of my knowledge, I read as much of the forums as I could. I've been on and off the game probably for the past 5 years and only jumping on periodically every 6 months or so because the game really has gone down as far as the population of the game. And that's for many reasons. The game came out 10 years ago, so it's going to be a little bit dated. But here is some information. I got my notepad. From the looks of things, Flying Lab owns the intellectual property of Pirates of the Burning Sea. Portalus has licensed out to continue running the game. This is, I think, back in, I can't remember. I'm not even going to try to guess when this was. And then it was ran by a handful of people for I don't know how long. There's a lot of questions we don't know here. What I do know is the population has been down a lot since, I'm going to guess, around 2010. So in a forum post, Portalus Games, the guy that runs the game, Fodder Boy, bless his heart for sticking it out as long as he can. He pretty much just laid it out and said, hey, this game is going under. We don't have the manpower. We don't have the funding to make this game last any longer. So he's reaching out to the community, basically saying September 30th, 2018, this game is going to be no more. As far as I know, that's just about a decade of Pirates of the Burning Sea being the go-to gold standard of Pirate MMO online game. Great game, lots of fun. We're going to go over some of the details of where I think it has its shortcomings and where it can improve on, and that's going to be part of my proposition. Let's continue. So the big question that everyone should be asking is it worth saving? Again, the game's an old engine. Yeah, it has some die-hard community fans. I was part of that die-hard person gaming. I mean, I would spend hours, years on this game, like 16 hours a day, literally until like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, playing with my friends in England. For those of you who don't know, my name in-game was Cannonball Alex or Cannonball Apollo. I only played pirates. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. It consumed a lot of my life. Okay, I'm digressing. Let's get back on track. So some of the challenges are, like I said, low population, It has a dated engine, so I mean, is this really worth saving? And then most importantly, are we gonna try to should they try to get more people in the game? And if so, that's gonna bring up a great question of how steep that econ is in the game. Not to get too much into the weeds, but the economics in this game are absolutely out of this world. I think they were hoping that there was going to be a resurgence of population, but I'm telling you right now, with a population of anywhere from 25 to 50 people on, that the game is just built for a 500 to 1,000 population, or at least a couple hundred people on the game to really make the economics move without people having to do dual boxing, 3 or quad boxing, or having basically a bunch of different accounts created just so you can get the econ in the game going. That's absurd, and actually I've noticed that back in around 2009, 2010, and 11, people would just create multiple accounts just to try to keep the game alive. So the econ in the game is out of control. I think the player versus player is healthy, it's fun, it's challenging, which is great, but there is one of those big things called loss. This isn't like a Call of Duty game, so once you die, you respawn instantly. No, it's gonna be a little bit harder felt than that. You're gonna have a lot of resources lost because making these ships takes so much time and effort, which is, again, it's really great. It's just too big for 50 people or 25 people to really manage. So those are the challenges. What's needed? Well, you need to ask yourself, what do we want? Do we want a whole new game? Do we want to revamp the game? Do we want to just keep this game on life support? No advertising, no marketing budget. We just want to keep the game going for the hardcore few. And then open source is an option as well, where they just hand over the code to someone and say, here you go, here's all the information to make this game. You could run it on a server. I think Flying Labs would do a great good deed if they did something very similar to that. So with all of that said, and I read most of the forums, but here's the gist of it at the end of the day. The game is going under. Is it worth saving? What kind of business model could we possibly have that would sustain this game, or I guess even make it bigger than it is right now? And then how would we go about doing that? So here's my proposal on how to, I guess, maybe save Pirates of the Burning Sea. This is tough. Again, I run my own company right now. It's a board game company. I would love to go into the digital market space, but it is, it's very challenging. You got to come up with coders. You have to have 3D animators. And I've worked with 3D illustrators, 2D illustrators, having writers, and then of course marketing budgets. And I don't think this is like a one-person job. It needs to be multiple people. So my main objective would be to run a crowdfunding source. So like a Kickstarter of some sort to raise funds for this game. That does two things. Kickstarter is actually a very large platform for advertising, believe it or not. Also, it is a great way to raise money for a game. The problem with digital games on Kickstarter or crowdfunding in general is that it's just really fiddly. A lot of gaming companies promise we'll have the game out in 6 months, and then 2 years later they finally create the game. So that's kind of an issue. That's a massive issue actually. So you have to break that stigma and just kind of really market it, package it in a way where it's like, hey, this game is already out. We just want to revamp it, keep it going, maybe have some servers up and hire 1 to 2 people doing animation and doing coding. So what kind of benchmark would I have, or a funding goal? Because again, I'd be doing Kickstarter for this. I would make a funding goal of somewhere around $20,000. Okay, now we're going to get into the bread and butter of things, of what I think it would take to kind of run this, given the information that they provided and how much maintenance is generally required. It sounds like you need roughly $2,800 to, I guess, sustain the game. Server, digital footprint, but that does not include hiring like an animator or a coder, which I would think it would be comfortable if you had 2 of them, at least 2 people that were savvy enough where they can kind of part-time come in on a case-by-case basis, put some code in there, put some updates in there, and then, run it live. If there are any issues, technical supports, you have someone there that could do that. I'm thinking at least 1 full-time staff tech person, but then you're talking about a salary of how much? $3,000-$4,000 a month? Crowdfunding, you can get a massive chunk of money, maybe revamp some of the graphics, definitely revamp some of the things like I've talked about. The econ needs to be dragged way down. I think it needs to be slashed, not just in half, but in quarters, as far as what's required to, make a product or make a consumable or manufacture good or a ship deed. You're going to need a GM, which you can probably get away with having people in the community being GMs. If they're trustworthy individuals, sure. Burning C notes is another thing, and this is probably the last thing I want to talk about because there's a whole bunch of things I think in this game that need to be improved upon. For those of you that don't know, it's the currency in the game. You spend real money, they give you burning C notes, and then burning C notes you can go into the online shop and then buy things. So in my role in something like this, I wouldn't mind being a quarterback in the sense that, you know, hiring the animators, hiring the coders, and just being the person that facilitates all the problems. I don't mind doing that. I would like to do that with a partner though, with someone else along my side. Again, to get this kind of funds though, you're gonna need to do Kickstarter. I've done 2 Kickstarters, again, raising over $100,000. So I know a little bit about how to market, how to make a product successful, and just overall run a business, because that's exactly what this is. To reiterate on some of the challenges, Flying Lab, I don't like that they're licensing out this game, the IP, to a company, and we don't even really know if Flying Lab is even making a profit off any of this, but we do know that the company that is sort of running this game for the past few years has been doing so as an act of charity. And I'll tell you right now, as a business model, trading a dollar for a dollar is not a healthy business model unless it really is your passion project. But I wouldn't even recommend doing that because your time is the most valuable resource and you really can't get it back. And if you're spending hours like I do, game design, game theory, game developing, it's a lot, it drains a lot. And in fact, getting outside it's not even in the agenda because you're always stuck behind a computer. So I think there would need to be a massive change. In other words, Flying Lab either selling the rights to the game for a song very, very cheap, because again, it is a very old engine. I understand they have all of these audio assets, all of these graphic design things, but I think they should cut their losses and get rid of the game in the sense that let's have someone else take over where they have 100% control over the IP, where they can actually start to treat it like a business model and hopefully generate money. And by generating money, maybe you can find yourself in that niche and maybe being like a retro game. But right now we're Flying Lab is holding on to the reins while everyone else is doing the work. I'm not 100% behind that. So for me to be part of any sort of resurgence or revitalization of this game until Flying Lab really lets loose on the reins, or maybe they get back involved again and try to revamp it, or at least allocate some of their resources towards making this game sustainable again. So there's a lot that goes into making a game. Ideas are super cheap. Executing is everything. I want to be optimistic about this, but hopefully someone comes along with a really good plan. But yeah, I'm gonna at least throw my name in the hat. If Portalus wants to get a hold of me, they can email me the information. Actually, I'm just gonna have my email address pop on the screen right now, and then you guys can shoot me an email. If anyone else is interested in trying to save this game, I'm open to the conversation. Of course, we got to get going quick because we have less than 15 days before this game. Well, it sounds like they're just gonna unplug it and call it quits. So yeah, let's get a conversation going. I would say not comment in the comment section on this. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you could do that too. I do game design vlogs for my own game, British vs. Pirates. British vs. Pirates Volume 2. You can still pre-order it on our website at... Ding! Is it still up there? But anyways, I want Pirates of the Burning Sea to stay on. If I can have a hand in the direction of which way it's going, I'd be very interested to do that. And yeah, I'm very interested to see what you guys had to say, and I'm interested to see if Flying Lab is what they're planning on doing with it. I'm telling you right now, that whole licensing thing, I don't know what kind of business model that is, but clearly if Portalus is not turning a profit, spending their time on it, that's just terrible. That's terrible. Yeah, that's awful. I mean, bless their hearts, but I'm not going to do that. And I love Pirates, and I love this game. I would not trade a dollar for a dollar. I would not do things for free. Hell, it's not even a dollar for a dollar. It's giving them a dollar, and you get nothing back. So I can't do that. I am interested to see what they have to say, though. I think they did make a great game, and I really do appreciate it, Flying Lab, for making this game. It's because of you that I actually became a game designer myself. So thanks again. Thanks so much for watching. Really looking forward to hear what you guys have to say. Take care, and keep my outro for my pirate stuff is keep rolling those dice, and I'll see you on the high seas. See you later, guys.